Compound interest versus simple interest investments. Compound interest is found everywhere across the globe and is fundamental to our understanding of loans, shares, mortgages, depreciation, inflation, and investments. Basically, it underpins the world of finance. Whereas simple interest is found in such classic books as last year's maths textbook, this year's maths textbook, and next year's maths textbook. Compound interest is fundamental to understanding how finance works in the real world. Simple interest, although it's not practical, helps us understand compound interest. We need to understand how simple interest works before we can move on to the more practical compound interest. So how does simple interest work? Sapphire invests $500 at 4% per annum simple interest for 5 years. To work out the interest for 1 year, we work out 4% of the principal, which is $500, which gives us interest of $20 for the year. The best way to see how this works is in a table. I like to have a year 0 to show the initial conditions. After the first year, we had $20 in interest. We add that on to the total, we get $520. The following year is also $20. Because with simple interest, once you work out the interest for 1 year, it is the same for every year. And so here we just keep adding on the $20 each time and we end up with a total of $600. After the 5 years, there was $100 in interest. We got that by adding on 20 each year for 5 years. A formalized way of thinking about it is the total interest is equal to the annual interest times the number of years. So for us, it was $20 each year multiplied by 5 years gives us $100. The more traditional way of completing this problem is through these formulas. Now, with this video, I'm more concerned about the understanding, so you can pause the video here if you want to check this working. Hal invests $500 at 4% compounding annually for 5 years. So just like Sapphire, the first year is going to be 4% of the $500, which gives you $20 in interest. After the first year, things are the same for both Sapphire and Hal. But it's in the second year that things start to change. Rather than 4% of the initial investment of $500, Hal has $520 in his account after the first year. So what we do is we work out 4% of that $520. We get our $20.80 and add that on. In the third year, it's 4% of the previous amount, which was the $540.80. We get our $21.63 of interest and we add that on. And we keep on doing that for our 5 years. Doing all those calculations can be quite tedious, but there is one shortcut that I want to talk about now, and that is to do getting the total. What you could do is multiply by 1.04 each time. You can pause the video now to check that this works. So why does this work? Well, 100% plus 4% gives you 104%. 104% is the same as 104 over 100, which is the same as 1.04. So multiplying by 1.04 is the same as increasing by 4%. When we compare compound and simple interest side by side, there are some observations which we can make. The first is that compound interest increases more than simple interest. In this table, I've added a column which is the difference in interest each year. After the first year, as was discussed, there was no difference. But after the first year, there was 80 cents difference. In the 5th year, and to be clear, this was the difference in interest in that particular year, was $3.40. So the observation is that the gap between compound and simple interest grows each year. I want to highlight that in a slightly different way. Between the first and second years, there was an 80-cent increase in the amount of interest earned. Between the 4th and 5th years, there was a 90-cent increase. So what this means is not only is compound interest growing, it's actually growing faster each year. We can see this graphically when we compare compound and simple interest. The blue line is compound interest, the orange line is simple interest. We can see that at the beginning there's not much difference between the two, but after time it starts to grow. After 10 years, the gap between compound and simple interest is further widened. We can see that compound interest line starting to curve up. After 20 years, the gap has become more pronounced again. After 5 years, it was $8.33 in total. After 10 years, it was $40.12 in total. After 20 years, it was $195.56. So it's not just that compound interest becomes more than simple interest over time, it does so at an ever accelerating rate. For investments, simple interest performs worse than compound interest when all other factors are equal. These other factors might be fees, the interest rate, the principal, or the term of the investment. So let's recap. So not only does compound interest increase over time, but it does so at an accelerated rate. Simple interest increases, but by a fixed amount each period. Compound interest is superior to simple interest for investments. Simple interest is simple, but not very useful. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe and hit the like button. Please leave a review and a comment. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm an experienced mathematics teacher with a passion for teaching financial literacy. Please read the disclaimer.